Okay, it started. So you can continue and explain a little bit more about your project and the team, please.
Yeah, no, absolutely. More than happy to. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. My name is M. I'm the founder and core team member of the Lucky's Games project. I'm here, of course, to talk about Lucky's Games, and it's something that we've been developing now for over 6 months. It's actually 9 months since we originally came up with the idea and concept, and 6 months of development has happened since then. So just a little bit about myself and a little more about my team. So we're a collection of British individuals. We've been in the crypto space since 2015, 2016, and our backgrounds cover computer science, data engineering, marketing, and economics. Now, it's quite jargonical, I know, but needless to say, with the kind of skills that we bring from those backgrounds, the way in which we run projects is as professionals. We develop them, we have deep conceptual thoughts about how they should be ran before we launch. And we think of the consequences of our decisions again before we've launched. And needless to say, we're here to effectively create economic systems that reward you for participating, for being loyal holders, and they generate income from the utilities that we've developed. We already have utilities live. We are not a project that's launching with a promise that, please invest in our projects and we'll develop this cool utility for you. We've already done it. We've already done all of the homework. We've put the work in. And actually, since launch, we've launched now our second game. So we're continuing to build, we're continuing to grow, and we will keep pushing this further.
Nice. Sorry for interrupting. Could you please send the related links maybe to the chat so that people could check on the website and everything that's made?
Yeah,
That
that's
would be
perfectly
handy.
fine. I'm pretty sure I did share it with your gentleman earlier, but seeing as he's not here, I'll take the liberty and post for him, fulfilling the role of host and hostess.
Yeah.
Not
Sorry for
ideal, so
that.
just bear with me. So I'll throw the links for the website, Twitter, and Telegram for you into the chat. Sorry, folks, I'm not used to doing both these roles at the same time. Normally I get to yammer on and explain to you all about Lucky's Games without having to also do all the posts.
Yeah, generally we ask the links up front, but I didn't have them, so that's the tricky part here. But okay, go ahead. I will find the links and I will share it. Okay.
I've shared the links there for you. So everyone, you're
Thank
more
you.
than welcome to come through to the Telegram, visit our Twitter and become a follower, or go straight to our website. I'll actually start sharing my screen in a moment and walk you through our website, our games, and everything that we've already developed. In the interest of time and also to get straight into it, I'd quite like to start by doing so. So let me just share my screen for you.
Sure.
And if you could just confirm that you can see the screen, that would be excellent.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So yeah, what you see here is Lucky's Games. This is our homepage, and in big bold letters there, you see DeFi Games. And that's exactly what we're all about. What we've developed is not a token, but an ecosystem. We've developed both a token that will reward you for volume, for other people's volume, through reflections and dividends, but also we've developed games that have strong monetary incentives as part of them. For example, in our flagship game right now, if you were to win today, you would get a 78,000x return on your investment. We're all out here chasing 100x tokens. We have a game live currently. I'll walk you through it and show you it in a moment. If you win it, you will get 78,000x. And as the pot grows, that increases that return. We also had someone win our mini game, our second game yesterday. They won a 500x return. And just the day before that, another person in our mini game won a 1000x. So that gives you a little illustration of the power of what we've developed. And we are a very young project. We've only just begun. We have very strong ambitions, and we see this as a project that has the potential to go to the $100 million to potentially $1 billion market capitalization. I'll dive into the roadmap and our vision for the future as we progress through this AMA. And hopefully it become clearer and clearer as to how I can make those sort of ambitious goals.
Okay, can I interrupt here just quick until we skip this part? So I assume you get a fee from every game?
More than happy to walk you through the fees and the games, yeah. So
And the odds, please.
absolutely. So I think the easiest way of explaining this is I'll explain the mechanics of the game, and then I'll explain how the fees and the transactions, the volume is distributed across them. So Perfect. Let's go straight into game number 1. So what you're seeing here is Lucky. We call it Luckey, little play on Key and Lucky. Lucky's games, our ecosystem. So Lucky is, in the simplest terms, a lottery game. However, it has very strong economic incentives caked into it. Now up top, you can see a timer here that's ticking down. And if this timer were to ever hit 0, then whoever was the last person to buy a key, right now it's OX53894D, this person would win. They would win the game. And the pot's worth 34.7 BNB right now. So they would win approximately 14 BNB because 40% of the pot goes to the winner. And a single key right now costs you 0.000181 BNB. In other words, it costs about 7 cents. So if you play the game, you're the last person to buy a key and this timer hits 0, for 7 cents, you'll win 14 BNB. Now, if Binance was offering a trade like that, I'd definitely be taking it. And a lot of people who are in our ecosystem, that's exactly what they're waiting for. You know, they're playing this game to win. But this game isn't just about winning. So when you invest and purchase keys, you see here I've created a demo account. I have 1,551 keys. And when I bought these keys, I paid some of my money to the previous keys holders. And since I bought those keys, other people have contributed towards me. So let me just walk you through a little of how the fees are split from a key purchase. So 40% goes to the pot, 25% to other keys holders, 15% to the token holders, and then if you refer someone, so there is a referral code over here, you can copy it, paste it up there, or share it with someone and get them to use your referral link. Whatever they spend, so if they spent 1 BNB's worth of volume, you'd get 10% of it. It would go straight to your wallet. It would show up here. So if they spent a bean, you would get 0.1. It would show up here. You could immediately claim it. So you can actually play this game without crypto. We've designed it so you don't need crypto to participate. If you're a savvy marketer, which there are some people working on this already, you could create your own banner ads. You could advertise our project, and if people clicked your link, your referral link, and then bought through it, you'd get a cut of their spending, 10% of it. So there's actually people who are willing to advertise for us to then get a cut of the volume they drive. Now, if there's no referral, you see here, that 10% just gets added to the token buyback mechanism. 4% automatically always goes towards token buybacks. So we end up with 14% of the volume going towards buying our token and burning it, permanently deleting it. And then finally, there's just a 3% fee here for development and marketing. Of course, we've spent a very long time developing this already. Like I say, it's 9 months since conception. We already have launched a second game, and we intend on developing more. Naturally, developers cost money, developing games cost time, as well as marketing and ensuring the continued growth of the ecosystem.
Of course.
Now, there's one final thing I'd like to just touch on with Lucky before we move on to a different topic, and that's a concept and a scenario we've developed called endgame. Now, endgame is what happens when 25 million keys have been sold. After the 25th millionth key has been sold, the cost of a key goes up by 1,000x. So right now, one key is extremely cheap. It's about 7 cents. The 25th millionth key will cost $1. So that's still extremely cheap and accessible. However, the next key after that, the 25th millionth and first key, will cost $1,000. Now, that's a very expensive key, right? But when we hit that point, the pot will be worth $6.5 million. There will be 22,000 BNB in the pot. So you wager $1,000, you become a millionaire instantly if you win. Or you might be a millionaire already and you've just become a bigger one. So you'd win $2.6 million for your $1,000 wager. So it's a 2,600x return. And then naturally, when it's that expensive, you might say, well, not many people could participate, right? Could someone else buy one after you if you can afford to buy a key? Maybe, maybe not. However, what we'd hope would be happening at this point is there's a $6.5 million pot. There are going to be whales watching this game, and they're going to want to win that pot. So they're willing to spend $10,000, maybe $100,000, because it's still a profitable thing to spend and take that risk.
I want to interrupt here real quick about the keys. Could you elaborate a little bit more about where can we purchase them? I mean, if someone holds a key, is there a secondary marketplace, or how does it look like?
So in order to buy keys, all you have to do is go to our website, luckies-games.com. You can click play game here or play games here. It'll take you to this page. You would connect your wallet, and then immediately the timer loads up, the pot loads up, and all of the statistics and whatnot. And then you just simply enter how much you're willing to spend on keys. So if you wanted to buy a single key, you could. It's 7 cents. You could buy a few thousand keys, or you could buy tens of thousands of keys. There are people who've spent 20 BNB on keys, and then there are people who've spent fractions of a fraction of a BNB on keys. There's various different strategies. Some people are here purely for the passive income. So they've bought a lot of keys. They don't intend on fighting for the pot, but some people have already or are very close to earning back what they've invested into this because of the volume that's come after their investment. So yeah, if you want to buy keys, it's as simple as that. Go to the website, play games, connect your wallet, enter a figure that's to a sum that you're willing to invest, and there you go. You click buy, loads up MetaMask, and don't have 2.18 beans in this wallet, so I can't do that. But there you go, simple as that. I'll buy a single key for you just to demonstrate.
Great. Yeah, I wanted to know about the keys. So assuming I will buy 5 keys, is there somewhere where I can see where the keys are?
So you would have to.
Like how many?
The way to see the keys is on the website. So over here on the right-hand side, you have a player stats box. It tells me the total keys that this wallet has associated with it. If I have any unclaimed reflections, they'll show up here, and you can claim them at any time. They're stored within a smart contract, and that's how all of our games are designed. Is they are smart contracts, and once we've launched them, we can't stop them. Lucky is a perpetual game because now that we've started it, now that this time has started ticking up, it will never stop. The game will continue until the whole BSC chain ends. And also you asked, is there a secondary market for keys? So keys are not permanent. They are only permanent for a round. This is a multi-round game. So if the timer ever did hit 0, then the next round would start. 10% of this pot would go into the next round to give an initial pot to entice people to involve themselves and keep the game going. Just bear with me. I have to sneeze, so I don't want to do that on mic.
Bless you.
Sorry, and thank you. So yeah, when the round ends, your total keys, it would go back to 0. And you would be able to, the price would go back to what it was initially. And the price of keys would very, very, very slowly start increasing again. Okay,
now I understand the mechanics of this.
Yes.
Okay,
but
great.
there is one constant in this. So I pointed out earlier, 15% of the game volume goes towards our token holders. Now, if you acquire the token, of course, that would never go down in your wallet. You'll constantly have that. And there can be multiple rounds of lucky that have happened. You'll always have those tokens. Some people buy tokens to later sell them for a profit. A lot of people in our ecosystem have bought tokens because they realize this is a passive income source. They just have to buy the token and forget about it. They don't even have to play the game. You can. So if you play our game, you earn BNB. That's if you were to win it, you would win BNB. If you referred people, you'd get BNB. And also for everyone else that buys after you, you'd also get BNB. However, if you buy our token, you receive BUSD straight to your wallet. And you're actually also able to stake your Lucky. So a lot of projects I know, they promise, we're going to launch staking in a week. We had staking ready on launch. We had Lucky, staking, the token, the whole ecosystem fully built out for launch. So if you staked Lucky, I've got 4,090 on this demo account. It's getting a 72% APR. I recently claimed and I restaked that and reinvested it into it. And when it's staked, you still receive your BUSD rewards straight to your wallet. So apparently, I was unaware of this, but my community has made me aware. We're the first token that does this, as in you still receive your dividends to your wallet even when your tokens are staked. That took me a bit by surprise because I assumed that's how all staking would work, but apparently not. That's an innovation that we've developed.
Okay, yeah, I've had the idea that even if it's staked, you get the dividends, but it depends on the smart contract, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I just want to finish the sort of thoughts because I was describing and explaining how Endgame works. So imagine this: 25 million keys have been sold, and now there are whales competing for this $6.5 million pot. They're spending $1,000 every single time. So every time they do that, the pot's getting bigger at a much faster rate now. 25%, $250 every single key they buy is going to our keys holders. $150 worth of BUSD is constantly automatically going to our token holders. And if those whales aren't referring, then 14% of it, $140, is just going to buying our token and burning it. Our supply is going to be deleted. And that's the intention. We have an extremely deflationary token here because we've built this economic system that constantly incentivizes it. Nobody wants this timer to hit 0 and someone else to win. Because like I say, right now it's a 75,000x. Who would leave that money on the table? The people looking at this timer, they won't. And that's game one. So that sort of explains that quite well for you.
Okay. I had a question about the timer before I forget this. So assuming the timer hits 0, now people have to do it manually. But what if people use bots? How do you manage that?
So we have actually developed, I can share this, it's in our FAQs. The question, can bots or smart contracts play the game? The answer is no. So we've coded the game in a way that no bot or smart contract should be able to play. Effectively, I can't share full details on how we've done this because, of course, that gives hints and ideas to those who would want to try and get around that. But what I could say is that, we've obfuscated how you would be able to query, request, and then perform the key buys automatically. Obviously, we can't guarantee that exploits won't be discovered, but what we can say is we've implemented industry standard protections to guard against these. We're a team of developers, we're a team of professionals. We've been in this space for a long time, and we're aware of what the latest best practices are as far as development in Solidity are concerned. We're not a team that took a project or some code, copied and pasted it, and don't know how it works. We've developed this and we understand it deeply. So we want humans to win our game, and the proof is kind of in the pudding. So if you don't mind, I'll just go into explaining our second game, which is called Mini Lucky. So something actually I didn't mention, and you were asking about the timer. This timer will never be over 24 hours. I should say that. I don't know if I did earlier. You could buy 1,000 keys right now. The timer would cap out at 24 hours. So this game is constantly, it's possible to win it every single day. Mini Lucky, however, this timer caps out at 4 hours. So we've had multiple winners already because naturally people have to sleep, right? And even if someone caps it out at 4 hours, you're not going to get a great sleep if you're waking up constantly to try and win this. It's called Mini Lucky because it's a smaller version of the main game. It's much, much faster. It's probably much more addictive, I would say. The pot's generally smaller because it does happen over shorter and shorter cycles. But what we've done with this game, it's just refreshed for me because someone's bought a key there. So within this game, the timer, the round can only ever last 7 days. There's a hard cap on how long a mini lucky round can last. And we've designed it so that the end game scenario happens at the 15,000th key with this game. So that means at the latest, end game starts on day 5. So we've tried to design this in a way that end game is inevitable with Mini Lucky, and really just demonstrate the power of what would happen when these whales are competing for the pot. And of course, the rates of return with this are absolutely insane. Like I've said, we've already had 2 winners. So someone won a 1000x. They spent, was it 30 cents? And they won more than a whole bean. So
Impressive.
yeah, that was the first winner. And the second winner got a 500x. That round was very fast. It was like a very late night. I think it was 5 a.m. for me, UK time. So the Europeans are asleep, the Americans are asleep, and we did have some Asian community members who were fighting for it, and they happened to win it. They got lucky. But yeah, this is a very, very fast-paced, miniaturized version of the main game, but it demonstrates the power of endgame, and we want people to start winning. So yeah, you can see how we've designed an ecosystem where on the left you have the tokens here in this blue teal outline. On the right you have the games, and they are designed to support one another. These are codependent systems, but there's a constant incentive for volume to take place, because if you don't perform a buy, if you don't have volume, someone's going to win. And you don't want someone else to win, you want to win.
So yeah, it's always competing against each other.
Exactly. And something I should mention and add is, with Mini Lucky, we've actually included lucky key buybacks. So when someone buys keys within the Mini Lucky game, it's quite nice. I can see the timer up here in the tab, actually. We've added that update today based on user feedback. Whenever someone buys a key here, it actually feeds into the main pot, and it keeps this timer topped up and ensures this game is a perpetual game that is guaranteeing you passive income for month after month. You might not get a 10x or 100x within a day, like some people are chasing tokens for this, but what you will get is that same passive income over the next 6 months. And I guess it's a question of, would you rather have a 1% chance of 100x in a token every day, or would you rather have a guaranteed shot at a 100x over 6 months?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always, you have like 2 sorts of people. So
naturally, there are people who want to gamble, and this game can still appeal to them, because when that timer gets low, there's their shot. You have a 75,000x waiting for you. 7 cents for 14 beans? I would take that gamble. Likewise with Mini Lucky, right now, it's not a 75,000x. It's not that kind of insane rate of return, but you are looking at an extremely cheap single key, 0.000466 BNB, to win. It's 45% of the pot here. So it'd still be an extremely high rate of return, just on much smaller odds, obviously, for a much smaller pot here.
Okay, great. That makes sense. Could we jump into the tokenomics, please?
Absolutely. So I'll show you the chart of the tokenomics just to start us off. So we had a private sale. It's less than 10% of the supply. The pre-sale was 17% and liquidity 10.2. So the rest of the supply that you see here is locked. The centralized exchange listing is liquidity that we've set aside for when we have a centralized exchange listing. The staking contract, 45% of supply is within a staking contract, and this is going to be very slowly emitted over the course of 3 years. So we won't hit total supply for at least 3 years. We've designed it that way such that this can be incredibly deflationary, while still being very rewarding for long-term token holders, because they'll just be able to keep increasing their stack, as it were. And we wanted to ensure, with this, the marketing, like this is 1% of supply put towards marketing. This is just simply to reward people in competitions, giveaways. There's a giveaway as part of this AMA for, a good question that the communities ask. And we have raffle competitions constantly. So if you were to buy 500 keys right now in Mini Lucky or Lucky, let's just have a look. 500 keys is a 0.09 BNB purchase. Then you are in a race to win 250 of the Lucky token. So yeah, that's what this marketing allocation is put towards. As for the sort of taxes and whatnot, this is how our taxes are set out for our token currently. It's when we're below 1 million market cap, it's 15%. We want to very quickly reduce that tax. The important thing when you launch a project is obviously to capture initial volume and make sure that you have a lot going towards liquidity and to keep funding your initial marketing. But very quickly, we want to get down to 10% as a tax, and then finally also 8%. And with this schedule, it's not that we'll stop at 8%. If we keep growing, we recognize that it's perfectly fine for us to lower it further and further, such to the point that it probably will never go to zero, because we'll always want to ensure there's reflections to token holders. But that's purely from the token tax side of things. Obviously, I've already gone into how these are split, but I haven't gone so much into how the pot is split at the end of a round. So this is something I just want to briefly touch on, which is quite exciting.
Yeah,
so, imagine we've sold 25 million keys. The pot is worth $6.5 million. 10% of it immediately goes into a new round. So $650,000 pot, just to kick us all off again, costs 2 cents. 2 cents to win 650 million. Sorry, not 650 million, 650,000. It's one of those situations where
like you're a billion. I was thinking, what?
Yeah, sorry, I misspoke. But 10% of the pot, the 6.5 mil, goes to starting a new round. So it's 2 cents to win 650,000. I take those odds.
Yeah.
40% will go to the person who pays for the last key, buys the last key, and is the winner of the game. 25% goes towards the key holders. So not only do people constantly earn passive income during the game, they also get this massive lump sum at the end of the game. 25% of 6.5 mil. Do the math in the heads. It's like 1.5 mil distributed over our keys holders. Just, snap of the fingers, they can immediately claim it. Again, 15% goes towards token holders in the form of BUSD. And then this is the one that excites me the most, is 4% of that pot goes towards buying back the token and burning it. So if we hit endgame, if we reach that point of $6.5 million, 4% of that is $250,000. So no token in the history of the BSC chain has performed a buyback and burn that is 6 figures. We'd be doing one that's $250,000 on a token and immediately deleting those tokens. Just imagine the insanity.
Contract, right?
Sorry?
Is it done by the contract automatically, or it's manually?
So currently it's manual. We can make it automatic, but for the time being, just during launch, we've been doing it manually. And that's obviously just to ensure people don't front run our buybacks, to support the price in the points that it's salient to do so. But also because, we don't want to constantly, we don't want to pump the chart when we know there are people present who are going to leave within a day, 2, or 3. What we're interested in is marketing to people that understand what we've built, which is an ecosystem that rewards you for holding, for participating, for buying keys. You're constantly earning BNB, BUSD, and if you're staking, Lucky, all at the same time. So you're more than welcome to invest and sell within a week. That's fine. It generates volume and it generates tax revenue and it pays our holders and the people that are within the ecosystem. But really what we want are people who understand what we've built and how the potential of this system is one that can go to the millions of dollars. Just to give you an example, the game Lucky, it's based and it's developed from a game I played back in 2018. So it's a while ago that I played it, but it was very lucrative. We took their idea, it gave us inspiration, and we fixed a lot of the holes and the security issues with it and sort of smart contract bugs that they'd written into it. But just by way of example, that game in the bear market, keep in mind it was the bear market of 2018, ended up with a pot of 22,000 ETH. Not BNB, ETH.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's the kind of scales we foresee the primary Lucky game going to. I don't think we'll ever hit that with Mini Lucky. That's kind of an insane number to get to, but Lucky operates on a much longer time scale. So if we get to this end game scenario, our pot can vastly surpass that 22,000 ETH figure. But yeah, that kind of hopefully illuminates a little of the sort of the potential with just these two games that we have presently. We do have plans for many more games in the future, and they don't all have to be along similar lines of sort of, you could say this is a gambling game as it is right now, because you can view it with multiple strategies. Sorry, so there's the one who's the person who buys a couple thousand and they're just going to live on the passive income that comes with that, and then there are people who are going to buy single ones, spend a tiny amount of money and try and win this pot. That's definitely gambling, trying to win the pot, or
of course,
gambling on the game continuing.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Before I forget that, so your LP tokens are staked for how long?
So the LP is locked. It's for 6 months. It was just over 6 months, I believe, actually. So yeah, it's 6 months now. Obviously, we're more than happy to extend that. We have no intention of taking it. Our plan is to keep locking it, keep progressing the game, keep building the ecosystem. And as you can see, what we've done is we launched and we absolutely, well, we launched, the chart launched upwards and people were euphoric at how green. And if I cut it off like this, people were just euphoric about how we just kept climbing and climbing and making new all-time high after all-time high. But what we did is at that point, around about this point on the 16th, 17th, we just kind of stopped marketing for a bit. And the reason for that is, we have explained this game to our holders, to multiple AMA lounges, and we've told them that this is a long-term investment. This is a project that, let me reiterate and rephrase this. So the average lifespan of a BSC project is 2 days. I don't know if people are aware who are listening, but that's the average lifespan of a BSC project. We've been around for 18 days, and I still think we're incredibly early. But regardless, we've launched with utility. Most projects don't do that. They launch in 1 day, they 10x within that day, and they're dead the next day. And the promise of building something is forgotten because it's a dead token.
Whereas, of course, 99% of the tokens are doing that.
Exactly.
On BSC, so
exactly.
It makes sense.
And it's hard to launch in the bear market. It's very hard to do what we've achieved in a bear market as well. I've in a way, I wish it was the bull market because this would have just continued. But that's fine.
You will have the advantage. because when we get to the bull market, well, it will pump up.
Yes, and I mean
So definitely there is
that's what we've built here. Is this is an ecosystem that when you invest in us, we're going to keep building. When you invest in our token, you are permanently earning passive income between now and the bull market. And you know, I don't know how swear friendly this place is, so I kind of try and control my language generally. But Christ, it's going to be some good passive income when the bull market does happen. It's already been insane now, but yeah, when we start having millions of dollars of volume flowing through the token, the game, multiple games, it's going to be absolutely insane.
Sure. Now, can we jump into the part of, again, staking NFTs? Because I see here NFTs and staking boosts. Could you elaborate on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. More than happy to. I know a lot of people are interested in NFTs, and I've done so many of these open mics where it's, you know, you have 10 minutes to explain the project, and I just don't have enough time, right? There's too much to explain.
We had a lot of projects. They all say the same. Like they had the open mic and like they don't have enough time to explain everything. So yeah, feel free. We are here.
Happy to dive in. So yeah, you've got staking, as I've sort of demonstrated already, where that's just you can stake your lucky tokens, you'll receive additional lucky tokens. So if you've done that and invested in the games, you're earning BNB, BUSD, and more lucky. And by the way, on the staking, it's entirely flexible. So I restaked an amount yesterday. I could remove it today. That's perfectly fine. We don't have time locks. You don't have to commit to 6 months of putting the supply away. Take it out whenever you'd like. Just be aware there's a 1% fee if you do within 72 hours. It's a very marginal fee. It's just there to disincentivize people, you know, flipping this back and forth, back and forth. But I think 1% is very understandable, right? As I said earlier, the runway for this, the way in which it's designed, it will run for approximately 3 years. The 45% that's locked within the staking contract. And then you're right, there are NFTs that are part of our ecosystem. But again, we don't like to do things for hype or, you know, just for the sake of doing them. What we've developed are NFTs that have utility. So there seems to be, hopefully, a desire from investors recently for NFTs that are more than just their speculative, greater fool theory value. You know, it's the people buy a CryptoPunk for 1 ETH and they think they can sell it for 100 ETH. With ours, you could do that. There is speculative value you can apply to it, but they actually have a utility. So we will, hopefully it's within the next week or two, be selling our first collection of NFTs. And when you acquire one of our NFTs you acquire one from a collection, you'll receive a 5% boost to your staking. So I don't have a boost on this wallet, so it says 0%. But once I've acquired an NFT on this account, I would have a 5% boost to my APR. And then to take it even further, because we've developed this functionality where we can detect, okay, you're holding an NFT from us, that means you're eligible for the 5% boost. We can actually do the same with other tokens. So we can offer people staking boosts based on acquiring and holding other projects' tokens. And that's why we call our partnerships staking partnerships. You know, when we partner with a project, and we have one partner, one staking partner, I'll explain them a little bit in a moment. We don't just announce a partnership and it's sort of hype and excitement and people are like, wow, they've got a partnership with this great big project. That's cool. And then everyone forgets about it. There's actually a utility there. So our staking partner that we've announced and is live is with DYOR. It's Doge Your Own Research. So it's a project, it's sort of based around helping investors. It's about discovering scamming devs and alerting both investors and marketers to, you know, bad eggs that are within the space. It's about ensuring that you can look at marketers as an owner, as a project owner, and sort of see the volume they drive, confirming that your marketing money is spent in an efficient and effective way. So it's keeping marketers honest, it's keeping project owners honest, and it's helping investors to make right decisions. So naturally, we love the idea that they have, and we partnered with them. So anyone that's staking their lucky tokens in our staking contract and owns 75,000 DYOR gets a 5% boost to their staking. And I can say that we are in several talks with other project owners already. Some of them are very, very large projects, which it's kind of crazy. I didn't imagine we'd be having some conversations with projects of this scale. But it's very exciting I'm very excited about these future partnerships that we'll be announcing because it's a mutually beneficial thing. When we announce them, our community and our investors will go and buy the other partner's token. So, they brought volume and demand to the DYOR token, but then also all of those people in the DYOR token, they got sight on our project. They saw us. So it's a mutually beneficial thing where we're driving volume and interest into their projects. And then they're also coming and returning that interest in our project.
Of course, that's how it works.
So yeah, it's staking. That's what a staking partnership is. It's not just a partnership. It's not just an announcement or hype. There is a underlying utility and benefit for our investors. So yeah, really, really interesting, exciting thing for us there.
Okay. To be honest, everything is pretty much clear for me. And in general, what we do is at the end of the AMA, we gather the questions. So we don't allow people to talk during the AMA, like on the voice chat, but we ask people to write their questions, and then we go through those questions. Now, most of the questions were answered, and especially from, I guess, your community member, he answered all of them. So that's a good point. And thank you for that, Crypto Silverback.
Yeah. I'm absolutely amazed at the community we have. It's amazing how everyone is very helpful. So if you're listening in and you're not a part of the Lucky's Games community, please, the Telegram link is within the chat. Please feel free to come and join our community. If there's anything that you're unclear on now, you're obviously more than welcome to ask. And I'm always in the Telegram, but also the community is there too. And we'll all support each other. We all push together. We all do organic outreach together. So we follow one another. We push each other's tweets. We retweet one another. We like each other's tweets. Because ultimately, with a system like this, you can do as much paid marketing as you like, but really the thing that makes a big difference is the community. So you guys who hear about it, learn about it, start earning from it, and then fall in love with the system, if you're going to share it, please make sure you share your referral code. We've designed this so that you can pay yourself. There's a lot of projects they ask you to shill for free. We're asking you to shill for a wage, as it were. You can earn your worth and make it worth your time. Don't do it for free. Get your referral codes, share it around, and if you're gonna tell your friend and your friend invests, make sure they use your referral code. You deserve a little payback and a refund for that. But yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg. To be honest, I think it'd be quite good if we dive into a little more on, say, roadmap and future plans and how we're going to keep developing our ecosystem. I just want to check in on how Mini Lucky's doing. Okay, we're at 48 minutes.
Sure. I wanted just to say Jamie's here, so let's welcome Jamie.
Oh, hi, Jamie. Welcome to the party.
Hey, guys. How are you all doing? What did I miss?
The whole thing.
I thought we were starting at 9 p.m. UTC. It's 9 p.m. UTC in like 10 minutes. You guys started without me. I wasn't late. You guys started an hour early.
It was an hour early, yeah. I fell for the same ploy the other day. I thought that UTC was the same as the UK, but we changed our clocks, didn't we?
Yeah, that's why. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. My bad. I'm sorry. Well,
So
anyway,
it's all good. No worries.
we continue. Jamie, could you take over? Yeah, we can't hear you, Jamie.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just yeah. Anyway, it's good that I'm back now. Yeah, sorry, Roman. I don't really know what's going on, so please continue there.
Yeah, I figured maybe Jamie shouldn't take over because he's missed the sort of the full explanation of what he's looking at, which there's a lot to explain. It's just for your sake, Jamie, I joked at the start of this that I've done a lot of open mics where you have 10 minutes to explain everything, and it's never enough. It's never, ever enough. And yesterday there was an open mic I was doing. There was a project before us, and they actually ran out of content within about 5 minutes. And the host had to start asking a lot of questions and be like, what about this, guys? Can you share about this? And I was just there. I was like, please, can I have this 5 minutes? But I didn't say anything. You got to be respectful and let everyone have their time. But I wish I had those 5 minutes.
Let's continue.
Sure thing. So I think it'd be good, like I say, if we talk a bit more now on the roadmap, what we're going to do in the future, how we're going to keep growing. So we launched with one game. We've already launched Mini Lucky, the second game. It's like I say, it's faster, it's more addictive. There's no rest for the wicked in this one, I'm afraid, because it could end whilst you're asleep. But obviously, that's a sign of things to come. We will continue to develop additional games. We'll always make sure that they are on-chain smart contract based, so we can't manipulate them. No one can hack them. No one can steal your money. All of it is taken care of by smart contracts. So that's the winners, the losers, the dividends. All of these things are entirely automatic. And if you want to confirm that, by the way, please make sure you do this for anyone that does an AMA or you're investing in a project. Read our audits, or at least make sure the projects have audits. We do. We have free audits already. Please just confirm everything I'm saying is correct, so you're safe with us. And we paid for it all out of pocket before we launched, so please let it be a justified spend, and do your own research and make sure it's all safe. Regardless, we will keep releasing additional games. They will always be designed in a way so that the token holders benefit and earn passive income as a result of them. They'll always be designed with game theory in mind. So as you can sort of see with Lucky, whenever this timer's getting close to zero, people are going to spend money. They will not let the 30, almost 35 BNB pot just go to waste. Or not necessarily go to waste, but go to someone else. They'll want their cut of that pot. And likewise, all the future games will follow that recipe. There will be incentivized volume. We can't guarantee volume. What we can do is set it up so that if there is no volume, someone wins and that person earns a ton of money. So yeah, there's lots of additional games. And then there's kind of in the longer term, and something that really does justify a potentially $100 million market cap, is this idea that we've developed a platform that can host other games. If there are Web3 games developers out there who have a really interesting idea for a game, we would love to work with that person, and we would host them on our website. So it's a win-win situation where we are able to support a small Web3 games developer to provide them a platform that is larger than if they were independently launching it. We'd help them with marketing it, with giving them an audience for their game. But on top of that, obviously, if it's a revenue-generating game, we'd ensure our token holders get a cut of it. We'd ensure some of it goes towards buying back our token and burning it. But it's that would be a very ambitious long-term goal for us, which is effectively becoming the sort of Bethesda of Web3 games, where we are a publisher as opposed to a developer. We'll, of course, still develop our own games. Bethesda still releases the Elder Scrolls and all of their own games alongside it, but we could be the publisher and supporter and platform for other innovative Web3 games like the ones we're developing. Furthermore to that, and more in the immediate term, we have plans to go multi-chain with this. So currently, the whole project is on BSC, but in the future, we want to launch on Ethereum. There is a question as to whether we launch on mainnet Ethereum or on L2. There are a lot of different L2s to choose from. Obviously, Arbitrum is all the rage currently, but Optimism is a great choice. Shibarium is coming out very soon. And Coinbase also has their hotly anticipated L2. So I think we'll probably have conversations with the owners of each of those L2s and see which one of them can have the most enticing offer for us. Because it's, these L2s, they want to ensure good projects end up on them. So we'll make sure we get a little bit of payback from them and support to ensure we are a very successful project when we launch on other chains. In addition, within the near future, we're hoping that we will have a centralized exchange listing. We have supply allocated to the site for it. We have funds available to pay for it. It's just a question of ensuring the centralized exchange is not, as I hope you sort of hear and recognize and see with all the other things I've spoken about here, it's not just hype. We're not going to get a listing for the sake of an announcement. That's not what we're about. We would want to ensure that we have a listing on a centralized exchange with someone who will be a partner for us, who will market our project to their users. It will be millions of users that they have, and ensure that they have a way of educating and teaching them about the wider ecosystem, not just giving them a green chart to invest in, but teaching them about how buying, acquiring, and holding Lucky is equivalent to owning a share in a business. And there is a revenue source behind that token that's constantly going to be coming to you as a holder. There's still a load more things on the roadmap I need to go through. So, but that gives you a good taste. So I think it's a chance for you to ask a question there. So I'll have a minor pause and let my throat have a little break and some water.
Okay, yeah. About the roadmap, I mean, as for me, definitely most of the projects, they have their roadmaps. Now, there are a lot of different roadmaps that we can implement. The most important part of the roadmap is definitely on BSC scan. People are always asking, what sort of marketing plans do you plan to have? Because as we know on BSC, people, they don't wait for a long term. They want to have a quick investment.
Yes, yeah.
And as you can, I want to say to the audience, those guys, they made the product, and the product exists already. It works up and running. So there is definitely a lot of potential, as I see here. Everything for me was totally clear. Now, about the questions in the chat, as I said, most of them, they were answered. So maybe is there particularly something that you want to add?
I think I'll just quickly say I can't pronounce the name because it's I believe it's Hebrew, the gentleman that's wrote there, but it's a 50% tax currently. The intention is that it will go down to an 8% tax on buys and sells in the future. And I said this earlier, but we are more than happy to go below 8% tax as well as the ecosystem keeps growing and growing. As we grow, more volume comes, and therefore the taxes don't need to be as high. But also, if you want to attain, a $50 million market cap, a $100 million market cap, if you have high taxes, you need more volume to reach those points. So absolutely, we'll be reducing them going forwards.
So I was just going to ask, have we talked about the token distribution?
We have briefly touched upon tokenomics, and sort of the splits of the tokens, as it were. I can briefly go over it again for yourself, Jamie, for the benefit of yourself. So
I was just wondering, because I see that there's 66% in the top smart contracts. I was just wondering about future token unlocks for inflation.
Right. Okay. So you've looked at the actual token here, gone to the holders, and then it's 66% in the here,
Yeah,
the staking contract.
another 10% in pink lock. I was just wondering about the unlocking times for these, and the so not pink lock. There's the 7% one under that. I was wondering what this one is, and the liquidity locks and all of this sort of thing.
Sure thing. Yeah, happy to go into them. So what you see when you see this sort of 66% of supply here, that's actually the staking contract. So 45% of our supply on launch is permanently locked within the staking contract and emitted over 3 years outside of this contract. And then the difference, so 450,000, 662,000 minus 450,000 minus all that's been emitted since we launched, that's the circulating supply that has been staked. So if you do the math, it's around about that sort of from the people who have been in the private sale, pre-sale, and then bought from liquidity, who've added to the staking contract, it's about 65 to 70% of our supply is currently staked. That's what explains this top holder, our number one holder. It's our staking contract, and it's 70% of the supply locked within it already. This 100,000 tokens, the pink locker, that's this centralized exchange listing. It's currently locked for a month. So it does unlock in a month's time. If we have found a partner that we're willing to partner with in that time period, then obviously it would remain unlocked such that we can use it for liquidity and listing on the centralized exchange. However, if we don't feel that we're either one, in a place for a centralized exchange listing, or two, we haven't found the right partner yet, we'll just lock it again. We have no intention of selling these tokens. There's no point in doing so. And just to clarify as well, these are emitted from dividends. We have the ability to emit tokens from dividends and profits. So, the staking contracts, all of those are they're out of supply until they're emitted into the community. As soon as they're in the community, they're eligible for earning dividends. But centralized listings and staking contracts held supply isn't eligible for earning rewards. The 70,000 here, I'll just go check. So that should be the contract. It says 318 there, so that's not actually accurate, is it? Sorry, this is the LP, obviously. My bad. So 70,000, 7% of the supply is currently in the LP. And recently we have been trying to really boost our LP. We've allocated some of our a greater amount of our taxes towards LP, because we recognize the importance of having a healthy liquidity to market cap ratio, because that's with the intention of course, inviting whales in, but also in raising the floor, ensuring that the price of our token remains. Sorry, I'm getting feedback from yourself. It keeps coming back to me.
Sorry, no, I was just going to ask, a lot of projects try to incentivize LP provision by offering it as a different type of staking. Is this something that you might consider doing to incentivize people to add more liquidity? So I've been in a lot of projects where they try to, I think, I can't remember who was like the first few big projects to do it first. But, add liquidity, and then you stake the LP tokens and then get a yield from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more than happy to cover it, but we're not incentivizing it currently. And the primary reason for that is if you as a third party were to provision LP for us, you'd get taxed whilst adding LP. We could remove taxes from you such that you could provision LP without taxes, but then that's a kind of risky thing for us to do, and we don't want to, go reducing people's taxes to zero willy-nilly like that. We do have a whales group where there are people who legitimately have in excess of 10,000 lucky tokens individually. They've bought them from the chart and since launched to get up to that figure. And those are the kinds of people that we could potentially reduce their taxes to 0 for them to provide LP, because we know that they're heavily invested in the projects and they're not there to, maliciously damage the project in the future. So yeah, we're not incentivizing it currently. We are doing our utmost as owners of the project to provision as much as possible in this early period. And we're quite happy to see where it's rising up to. 7% is a good figure. We'd want to get it up to probably 10%, back up to that figure. And actually, you can see the dead address is our 9th largest holder. That's just been climbing and climbing. We are burning so much of the token. And part of the reason for that is obviously if you burn more of your token, your LP to market cap ratio improves because your market cap is brought down slightly by the fact that you bought a load of tokens, but you burned them. They're gone, they're not circulating, and therefore they don't count towards your market capitalization.
So in terms of increasing how much liquidity there is, I wasn't here for when you guys were talking about the taxes, but I would assume then that some percentage of the taxes automatically goes back towards the liquidity pool.
Absolutely, yeah. So in our we are recovering some ground, but that's perfectly fine. I'm happy to. These things happen with AMAs. People come in and come out constantly. So in the taxes, it's 15% total tax as of when we launch up until we hit the $1 million market cap, and 2% is allocated towards LP. Currently, we actually have increased this to 6%. So you can see there's an asterisk next to a few items here on the schedule. So we held a vote within our community, and we asked the community. We didn't do this, magnanimously as owners of the project. We wanted to make sure the community was okay with this. So we did a vote, and 92% of our community, there's a link to our vote here, they agreed that they were happy for us to reduce the reflections on the token from 5% down to 1% temporarily, and then provision that 4% difference towards LP. So that's how we've been able to accelerate our provision of LP personally. And then as a way of effectively rewarding our community for this temporary sacrifice, when we drop our taxes to 10%, the schedule says that it will be 4% for reflections. But what we're actually going to do is we're just going to maintain it at the 5% that it should be. That's our way of obviously expressing our gratitude that our community has taken a short-term hit in terms of their passive income there, but they have by a large margin recognized that this is extremely important for the longevity and the future of the project. So yeah, I'm really grateful for the community coming to that decision and conclusion. LP and market cap, your ratio of this is extremely important, especially for early projects. So thanks to our community, we really are pushing this up towards levels that mean the price can constantly keep rising with us.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and yeah, it's pretty clear. So can we go back to the tokenomics slide? So how long is it 7% team tokens? Are these tokens locked, or are these just circulating?
They're not locked.
How many people are on the team?
All circulating, because we're not intending on selling them. With the team tokens, these are not exempt from dividends, so they earn rewards, and that's the way in which the team is being rewarded for the work we put into it. It ensures that obviously we're incentivized to continue developing, because the more we develop, the more we grow, the greater the rewards that come via that avenue. And the sort of fees and taxes that are allocated towards development and marketing, they're actually allocated towards development and marketing. Whereas in other projects, of course, they take the development or they take the marketing. Ours is actually being spent on these things because we're not being rewarded through that mechanism. We're being rewarded through our rewards that come as part of this 7% of supply.
Okay, brilliant. Well, the tokenomics look, I really like the tokenomics. They seem nice. I'm sorry again for missing the first massive chunk of the AMA. I'm sure we might have been going over a few of the things.
So that's perfectly fine, mate. And it's nice to be able to talk a bit about the tokenomics, because primarily when I talk in these AMAs, the important thing to cover is the game, because really this isn't just a token, it's not just a chart, and it's not just a community, it's an economic system and a whole ecosystem that we've developed. So I think there might be a lot of people that miss the start, like yourself, Jamie, but I know that I'm sort of looking through the list there. There's quite a few new faces. So just I can give you a brief. It'll be sort of 5 minutes if I'm lucky, running through the game if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was just thinking. So you see a lot of people talk about the game, but I think really when people come to these AMAs, they're sort of judging on investments rather than I don't know how big our gaming community is, but I know that everybody in our group gambles on shitcoins. That's not to be derogatory. I mean like BNB, you know, whatever, like fun stuff. Everybody loves it. I love it. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
But I think,
but that's probably the reason why I think it really is important to go into the game and explain it, because if you are into shitcoins and gambling on them, this is 100% up your street. This isn't a game with graphics. You know, someone in a previous AMA was like, "What are the graphics like? How good is it? And does it have multiplayer?" That's not what this kind of game is. This is very much a degenerate shitcoin gamble machine simulating the opportunity to win right now 75,000x on your investment. You know, people are out here, we're chasing tokens, we're looking for the next 10x to 100x. But if you were to invest and be the winner in this main lucky game right now, today, you would get a 75,000x return.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking for those who do want to invest in the token itself, though, it is important to understand the tokenomics and all of this stuff. Yeah, because that's what makes everybody a load of cash. But do tell, this is, as I understand it, a lottery.
It's in its simplest terms, it is a lottery, but then it's a lottery that has game theory caked into it to ensure that it is a perpetual passive income machine. And yeah, 100% agree with you. You know, it's nice, like I say, it's nice to be able to go into the tokenomics, because most people, they don't seem interested in it, but we did put a lot of thought, energy, and time into ensuring this is safe, that it's sustainable. You know, that the staking contract emits things over the course of 3 years. It's not, you know, will be at max supply within a year, and it's highly inflationary. This is really, really, we thought long and hard about ensuring it's a long-term deflationary project, and safe for investors from that perspective.
I really like the tokenomics. Seem nice.
So I'll just briefly
projects. I hate the tokenomics, but yeah, sorry.
That's all right. It's all right. Totally understand. So with Lucky, just to sort of briefly summarize it and quickly go through it, it is, as you say, it's sort of a simple lottery if you want to see it in straightforward terms, but it does come with a lot of economic twists and incentives. So there's a timer ticking down at the top. This is constantly ticking down. We've launched the game. Now that we've launched it, we can't stop it. There's no stopping the game or the rounds. If the timer ever hits 0, the last person who spent, I'll buy a key now, my wallet's going to be the winner. I actually currently am the winner because I've already demoed buying a key. But if the timer ever hits 0, then I would be the winner. And that means I'd get 40% of what's in the pot right now. So I've just spent 0.000181 BNB to become the current leader. I'd win 14 BNB. So I've just spent 7 cents, and I'd be in it to win several $1,000s. And it's a 75,000x, like I say, currently. Now, obviously with this, there is that constant incentive that whenever the timer gets low, people are going to be buying keys. They're going to be topping it up, because every time a key's bought, the timer increases by 30 seconds. And just as a heads up, the timer will never exceed 24 hours in Lucky. So it's every single day there is an opportunity for someone to win, providing no one else is topping up that timer. And the way we've designed it is so that early participants are very likely to see a profit in passive income from their keys. And that's because, you know, you're crowdfunding a pot for a lottery. So we're ensuring there's a reward mechanism so that there is a reason to be funding it. as the game progresses and gets later and later, the price of keys is very, very incrementally increasing. So you'll see more people buying single keys. These people are trying to win the game. They are literally playing to win. But then you might see people buying multiple keys even very late into a round, because what they're doing is wagering that the game will continue long enough for them to see a return. Now, all of what I've just said applies up until the 25th millionth key. The price of the 25th millionth key will be about $1. So between now and then, you're seeing a very, very slow increase in the cost of keys. However, the next key after that, the 25th millionth and first key, will cost $1,000. So we've ramped up the price inflation curve of keys by a factor of 1,000. And just to illustrate what the pot looks like at that point, there'll be $6.5 million within the active pot at that point. It's over 22,000 BNB. So you wager $1,000 to win 40% of a $6.5 million pot. You're going to win $2.6 million. You'd get a 2,600x. Naturally, it's $1,000. It's quite expensive, so most people probably can't participate. However, by that point, we assume that whales will be competing for the pot. They'll have heard about this project. They'll have heard about the size of the rewards available, and they will be fighting against each other. They have hundreds of thousands, millions to tens of millions of dollars. They can afford to play this game, and the more and longer they play it for, the larger and larger the pot's going to grow anyway. So if the game continued at that point, at a minimum, it would double in 5 days and quadruple in 10. So you kind of get the idea of just how insane this becomes, where it was $6.5 million at 25 million keys. Over the next 4 days, it quadruples. So now you're looking at a $28 million pot for a $1,000 key.
How long has the game been running for so far?
So it's been running ever since we launched. So that would put it at 18 days old. The game can continue forever. However, each round is hard-coded so that it can only ever last up to 6 months. We've designed it that way just so that in the event of a very low volume environment where there's just enough sort of like single key, and very, very cheap single keys, if we end up in that situation, then there's an exit ramp, as it were. So it's hard-coded, so one round can only ever last 182 days.
This is super intelligent. I can see how this game theory works. Yeah, brilliant. And so I suppose then the question is, can you keep attracting new, wealthier audiences, or do you think that this is just a function of the game, that it will continue to do this really quickly and you'll attract so much money in the pot to the prize money itself? Because that's a lot of like big lotteries like incentivize people, right? Like the Euro Millions, they roll over, blah blah blah. Oh, we've got a bigger pot this time, but this one's sort of going viral on Twitter is the goal, as I understand it.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got an initial push that is required, which is what we're doing now. You know, it's sort of educating people on the perpetuality of the ecosystem we've developed, and getting them interested, invested, buying into the token or the keys game, or both, and getting solid investors that understand just how long and constant passive income from this system can be. But like you say, once you hit some sort of critical turning point, the game becomes self-sufficient because the pot's just too large and the reward is simply too great. So currently, with the price to pot ratio, like I've said earlier, it's about 75,000x. If the pot goes up to 100 BNB, the price doesn't increase at a rate fast enough to mean the ROI decreases. It actually accelerates, and it's exponential in its increase. So by the time the pot's worth 100 BNB, it's around about a 500,000x. And at that point, who's going to leave a 500,000x on the table? People will start sharing this. They'll start talking about it. And you sort of see in the space, you know, with influencers and all these people, they do what are called culture calls. You know, these they're not making money from it. They're calling it because it's something big for the space. Even actually, I'd much prefer that what they do is they put their referral code, you know, so they'll get 10% of the volume that they drive towards the game. But yeah, to go back to your question, it's sort of how do we push this and how do we market it and how do we keep it growing? We're doing our initial push. Our community is working with us. We're constantly on Twitter. We're on Telegram. We are doing AMA lounges all the time. I love doing these and sort of talking to people and helping to educate and teach them on what we've built. But then also we're doing, I can share this, and we'll be announcing, or not announcing, but starting it and announcing it tonight, which is a massive airdrop campaign that we're beginning. So we're giving away around about $1,000 worth as part of that. And it will increase our holders within the project by around about 1,000 people. So that's quite exciting. But yeah, there's our side of the bargain, which is marketing and pushing it. There's the community side of the bargain, which is also then supporting us, helping us with organic outreach. It's referring their friends and sharing it within private groups, social groups, and whatnot. Because, you know, ultimately we can spend all the money in the world, but paid marketing isn't as effective as organic marketing. It's, you know, Floki, Shiba, Doge, all of these things, they reached the points at which they did because of the communities that pushed them. And, you know, just to say on the team that is handling our marketing, there are individuals who've ran their own projects, and they've ran projects to 100x to 1000x. You know, they are professional, they have experience, they know how to drive the projects to that rate of return. So I'm really confident and I'm grateful for the people that I work with in that regard. I am a data scientist, so and an economist. So I work with designing the tokenomics and the games and the game theory and all of these side of things. And those guys, they are just insanely well connected. So, you know, it's the division of labor, referring to Adam Smith, you know, all those things. Those guys are absolutely phenomenal at all of that.
Yeah, well, brilliant. I think we've been talking for an hour and 23 now, so this would be one of our longest AMAs. But from what I've seen from the last half an hour, I'm super impressed by it. Actually, it's the idea behind the project of, you know, using the reward pot, like the lottery funding as a marketing tool to scale and reward people through all of these mechanics is it's definitely exciting.
Yes, so, it's really exciting to share it. And you probably missed the sort of how the fees and taxes are split when key buys are taking place as well. So I'll leave it on the screen for you to read there. I appreciate if this is one of your longest ones, perhaps you prefer to keep your AMAs short, cozy, and concise. But this does seem to happen with all the AMAs I do. They're supposed to last an hour. They end up taking about 2.
We can keep going if you want. Like I had in the back of my mind this key purchase thing, and you mentioned the yield to key holders. So yeah, I was actually wondering if you could expand that a little bit about the key holders. So actually, if you were to sort of compare it to a lottery, the more people who then buy lottery tickets, they get rewarded to people who've like already bought them.
Exactly.
Like yield.
Yes, that's how it works. So 40% of all the volume goes to the pot. 25% goes towards people who've already bought keys and are participants within it. So the earlier you are, of course, the more rewarding it is. However, once you get to end game, where you've got this $1,000 price key ramp up, there won't be many additional keys brought into the system. However, the value of those keys it's $250 per key that's going to be going to the keys holders. So at that point, we actually end up in a situation where theoretically 99% of people are in profit. You know, it's something that's not possible in crypto, and you won't see it in other projects because there are tokens, say, where it's a zero-sum game. You know, there are winners, there are losers, and the people who win, they win by the same amount as the people they win by the same amount as those that have lost by that amount. Whereas with this, if you've got whales fighting over a $10 million pot and they're growing it and growing it, they're just chucking dividends straight to the keys holders. 15% is going to the token holders, and that's in the form of BUSD. So you've got BNB going to participants in the game, BUSD going to token holders, 10% goes to referrals. If there is no referral, it goes to token buybacks instead. So you've got 14% of volume going to buying the token and permanently deleting it. And then we just do a minor, a very small 3% on development and marketing to fuel the whole system and keep it pushing forwards.
Okay, and so keys are also an ERC20 token, right? PEP20.
Technically, they are data stored within a smart contract. They are not tradable. They are not something that is in your wallet. It's the smart contract logs and stores all of this in memory and keeps track of the...
I was just trying to envision how keys holder reflections work. That's not actually an ERC20 token you've got. It's just something that logs it. Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. The games are designed in a way so we can't influence them. Once we've launched them, that's it. They exist forever until the end of the chain. All of the winners, the losers, the dividends, all of these things are handled by the smart contract. It's very complicated to design a system like this. It's quite hard to do it in Solidity, but that's what we've done. We've given everything towards an autonomous function, and it's the one that determines it all. You don't need to trust us. It's all handled by a smart contract. And I said this earlier, but please read our audits if you're listening. Just confirm that. Make sure that keep me honest. Make sure what I'm saying is true, and confirm that when you participate, none of this can be stopped by me or any member of the team or even a hacker. If someone stole my account, we have operational security. No one's going to steal my account, or at least, I hope not. But we've got protections there anyway. But regardless, if someone were to steal the owner of the key, if someone took the wallet that launched this keys game, there's nothing nefarious they can do. They literally can't stop it. They can't change anything the way that we've designed it. It's a perpetual machine. It's been launched. This is how it works. This is how it will work forever.
How on earth did you guys come up with this idea for sort of incentivizing an exponential lottery? It's quite genius.
It is a genius idea. I can't take full credit for the creation of it, so that's why I'm a humble person. So that's why I'm quite comfortable saying that. So we've taken inspiration from a game from 2018. I'd said this earlier, but that game that was launched, it ended up reaching a pot of 22,000 ETH. So that gives you the sort of the idea of the scale of how big this system can go. However, when we thought and took our inspiration from that game, we realized there's a lot of flaws within it. One, there are a lot of security bugs. Two, there were exploitable loopholes that were part of the design that people have discovered and we've fixed. Three, bots could play them. We've designed this game so that bots can't play. Smart contracts can't play. Only humans can win. And four, we designed it with additional design changes. So things like endgame, this system that means the pot can exponentially grow. It's what you've said there. The pot can exponentially grow. People are incentivized to ensure it does exponentially grow. And there's a perpetual passive income machine, especially because, just to show you what happens at the end of a round, 10% of the pot goes towards the next round. So the cost of keys is totally reset. It becomes 2 cents all over again to buy that first key. And if the game gets to end game, 6.25 million in the pots, 625,000 goes into the next round, 2 cents to win $625,000. That's a trade I'm willing to take. But yeah, please, Jamie, if you've got any questions, more than happy. I've probably covered all these bases, so I'd like it if you guide the questions now.
No, that's really exciting. And the game end, I'm just going through this now again in my head. But the way that I'd imagined it at first was that 100% would go to the winner, which had me concerned that, you know, eventually. I mean, I can see the incentives for why people would want to keep extending the game and everything, but actually, the idea that you can get 25% of the of the reflections going to key holders, just people who have participated.
Mm-hmm.
Is that that's quite incredible? And the cost for being a key holder, the cost of buying keys continually rises.
It increases, but it increases by a very, very small amount. It's 0.8075 BNB per key. 8 zeros and then 75 BNB.
Okay, and how much would it cost to buy a key if the do you know the numbers? Like if the market cap were, sorry, not if the market cap, if the amount if the amount of BNB in the rewards pool were, say, 10 times larger than it is today, how much more would it cost to buy one key?
I've done all the simulations. I did say I'm a data scientist, so you know I naturally have to do these sort of things.
Yeah, that's what I need to ask you this question.
So we're almost at 35. We're between these two calculations, so it currently costs 0.00181. Yeah, that matches up with my simulation here. To triple it, we go to 90. At that point, it's still going to be 0.000278 BNB.
Okay, can you share your simulations so I can play with them?
It's not something I have shared yet. It's
Okay.
something I'm willing
like
to share with.
Or something that you could, like a Microsoft Sheets or something. You could Google.
There is a way to build it out in Microsoft Sheets. The way I've done this is I've done it through Python simulations. I'm a developer and sort of coder. It's the way I prefer to work. So it's not as accessible. It's a little impenetrable. And just for the sake of the AMA, we can talk about this in DM if you'd prefer, if you like. It's more than happy to do that. Maybe I can see people, there's sort of, the AMA is getting smaller and smaller. So maths isn't everyone's favorite topic, let's just say.
You're saying I'm a shit host.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying maths isn't the topic that keeps people in the room.
Yeah, so I was just wondering about these simulations for like when you could like how much you might expect the value of the keys to rise based on like how big the pot would be. So you said the last project that did something like this got to 22,000 ETH. So this project is something similar. The value of the keys would have to increase massively as well, no?
Well, it's just the quantity of keys that has to be sold. The price increases extremely slowly, and that's just to constantly mean that people can get a seat at the table. You know, if you want to buy several thousand keys right now, you can buy 5,000. It's around about 5,500, 600 keys you could buy with one BNB. So it's making sure that it's equitable. You know, the game is actually extremely early right now, with 34.73 BNB in the pot. The ambition with this is obviously that the pot's going to get to hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of BNB. But we ensure that the price of a key remains extremely cheap for as long as possible. I did say this earlier, so the game started, a key cost 2 cents. By the 25th millionth key, 25 million keys, it's $1. So that gives you an idea of the price scaling. It's extremely slow over an extremely large number of keys, and that's when we switch on the end game scenario. It's not we switch it on. The end game scenario will automatically take place. It's all within the smart contract, and that's when keys will cost $1,000.
Okay, so let's say that what happens in the end game scenario? Does the timer get slower, or what happens?
No, we've ensured that the timer doesn't get any slower. A key will always increase the timer by 30 seconds. So the only difference is the fact that the cost of a single key will go up by 1,000. And that's effectively because we want the game to end. We want to ensure that there is an ending, that there's this massive, explosion at the end. But we've done it in a way that if there are whales watching, if there are people with a lot of funds who are willing to spend $100,000 on keys in a battle with other whales, that it could continue. It's
Sure. But what I'm thinking is, if I buy, let's say I buy $100 of keys now, and then there's a whale later on who buys $100,000 worth of keys,
mm-hmm.
and then I get the 15% of what he bought. 15,000 goes back to the holders of keys. So
it'd be 25%. 25% goes to keys holders.
25%. So I could just buy into the lottery now, and then it will end eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always going to keep going up. And if the game theory works out, then along the way from people buying however many keys for $100, somebody's buying one key for $1,000. That's going to get redistributed to me, and the people who get rewarded earliest, of course, they can get keys for much, much, much cheaper. But it's not like you sell a key. Like you're always once you bought to become a key holder, you're always a key holder. So there's no downward pressure on the yield.
Yeah, that's kind of how the game is designed to exist and reward early participants, but also continue rewarding future participants. And yeah, it's we want to ensure and make. There are people who are going to play this game with various different strategies. So there's people who are here to win. They just want the pot. All they care about is waiting for that timer to be 10 seconds. Then they're going to buy a key.
But you also say, I just want to bet that the amount that I'll make from keyholder reflections, which are in BUSD, right?
So the keyholder reflections are in BNB. That's what you see accumulating here. I created this demo account not too long ago. I bought 1,000 keys, and I've just accumulated 0.0129 BNB. So that's from key reflections. If I have tokens,
I'm gonna Ghost. We should split up the multi-sig. I'm gonna buy some tokens.
So yeah, if you're playing the game, you're earning BNB. If you're also holding the token, you're also then getting BUSD. And then also if you're staking the token, you can get more lucky, which is what the rewards that come through this are. And when you're staking, you still get your BUSD straight to your wallet. It goes directly to your wallet. So yeah, that's how it works. I think I've explained the whole thing twice over now, but it's nice to hear that you're demonstrating the kind of passion and excitement that I've got for this.
Yeah, no, I really like these really crazy ideas, but this one, like so many projects we have on here, they have an interesting idea or whatever, but the game theory just doesn't like click with me. This clicks. This makes sense to me. The idea that you can just sort of like imagine, I don't know, like how where are you from in England?
So I live in London, but I've been from the West Country, so I could do a very strong West Country accent if you'd like, but it's a little embarrassing, is it not?
Yeah, no, the ideas of like it's like some projects that don't really have any game theory. This has a lot of game theory that makes sense, and I like the idea. Key holders reflections, you buy your keys and then you constantly get yield from them forever until the game ends,
until the round ends, not until the game ends, because the game carries on forever. And I mean I haven't covered with you, but we have mini lucky as well. Mini lucky is equivalent. Oh my god, it's at 30 seconds.
Wait, what do you mean?
Key. Sorry, bear with me, I'm playing a game here. We have a second game. We launched this last Sunday. This isn't a one game and done.
What do you mean about until the round ends? So if I buy a key, I'm entitled to all of the 25% until the round ends, not until the game ends, of anybody else who buys in.
So with lucky and mini lucky, it's rounds based. So as I've said, with this main game, the longest it can possibly last is 6 months per round. After that 6-month point, sort of within the final block of 182 days since we've launched, there'll be a massive battle to be the last person to buy a key. If it gets to that point, it might end sooner. But then the next round will begin straight away.
Oh, right. I thought
10%
it was.
of the pot goes into the next round. So immediately it's the same incentives, the same lottery pot, the same game, all designed to kick off all over again.
Oh, okay, brilliant. I thought it was like a one-time explosion thing, but actually it just restarts every time.
Exactly. And actually, so this is another thing you will have missed earlier. With Lucky, it's a 75,000x if you won right now. Mini Lucky is a very, very quick version of Lucky. We've had 3 winners already. The first winner got a 1000x. The second winner got a 500x. I haven't done the math on how the third person did yet. But it looks like we're potentially going to have a little battle right now. I can assume that the chat in my, if I go to, if I or you or anyone listening goes to our Telegram right now, there's a lot of key buys in Mini Lucky happening because this timer's getting very close to 0.
Has the main Lucky timer got to 0? Has it ever gone?
No, this Lucky game has never ended, or not yet. It will end. It has to. We've hard coded it so that it will, and someone's going to win huge amounts of money.
If I buy one key, then does the time go straight back to 24?
No, so a key always buys 30 seconds, whether that's in Lucky or Mini Lucky.
Okay.
But yeah, I can see within our Telegram, we have a bot that tells you when people buy keys. Oh, someone's just bought a load. Let me refresh. Look, see, they've just bought a load and put it up to 56 minutes. I was trying to win the game live in an AMA. But yeah,
Lucky gone to 0.
Lucky the main game.
Yeah, 0.
I think the closest I've seen it was 4 hours. It might be lower, but to be honest, I've been much more focused on Mini Lucky recently because it's like it's way more addictive. The timer's constantly low. This timer, so with Lucky, the timer can cap out at 24 hours. This one caps out at 4 hours, so you can't even sleep.
Crazy.
The pot's obviously much smaller. It's sort of smaller rounds, but the rates are the ROIs on winning this are extremely high. It's designed in the same way. It's just supposed to be a bit more, immediate, and also the thing we want with Mini Lucky is to demonstrate the power of endgame. So with Lucky, it's going to take a long time to get to endgame, right? It's 25 million keys. Whereas with Mini Lucky, it can only ever last 7 days. And so for a game to last 7 days, 22,000 keys would need to be sold. But we've made it so that endgame starts after 15,000 keys.
How many keys have been sold so far in the main Lucky?
In the main Lucky, let's just have a look.
There's 25 million before you get to endgame.
So we've sold 700,000. It's just shy of 700,000 keys. So we're...
Oh, so yeah, okay. So if it does get to endgame, then whoever buys a key will make a shit ton from the rewards, even if they lose.
And I mean, the nice thing about that is you can have assurance that you're still early to joining Lucky, because it means we're only 3% of the way. We're 2.8% of the way towards endgame. So even though the pot looks big, or I say we've sold 700,000 keys, like that's a lot of keys. Well, we're only 3% of the way there. And we've still got 5.5 months until this round has to end. So you can sit very comfortably knowing you're still early. I guess one thing I haven't explained so much here during this AMA is we've launched Mini Lucky to, like I say, demonstrate endgame. It has to hit endgame. If it's going to carry on for 7 days, it's designed to do that. But also the fees and taxes for Mini Lucky, because it's a more addictive and immediate sense, sort of pulling people into it. You can see the timer up there, 54 minutes. That's nice. 7% of the volume in this, when a key is purchased, goes to buying keys in the primary game. So that primary game's timer is constantly being driven by these mechanics here as well. So that's what I mean when I say we're building an ecosystem of codependent systems. Volume in mini Lucky drives volume into main Lucky, which drives volume into the token, and you've got all of these avenues. People talk about being double taxed when they buy and sell tokens. With this, you're getting double dividends, or quadruple dividends, or triple dividends, because volume into one game goes into the next game, and then it goes into the tokens. So it's just constantly flowing volume, all designed to reward you as a holder, as an investor, for the long term. Yeah, my voice is starting to get a bit dry, so I do think perhaps we want to summarize and wrap things up, if you don't mind yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, thanks for coming on to chat to us. This has been super interesting, Eme. We have the recording of this. I'll share it in the KAMIKAI Lounge, and then you're free to share it and do as you please with your community as well. But yeah, we've gone. How long has it been now? Almost 2 hours. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming on to chat to us. I'm going to listen to the rest of the recording that I missed and look over all of the stuff. So I think I might buy some. Are they called tickets for the yield?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Get involved.
Okay. If this does get to end game, then the yield from buying the tickets now, when only 3% of the tickets have been bought.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely insane, especially if you've got tokens too, because then you're obviously getting the BUSD as a result too.
Which is 25, be 21 million Bitcoin. Imagine if you could buy a load of Bitcoin when only 7 million were around.
Well, it's
go into the cost of the tickets that they go up exponentially anyway. So you're going to be yield from whatever anybody else buys.
That's how it's all designed. Yeah. So I guess I'll just summarize for those listening right now. If you haven't done so already, please do feel free to come through to our Telegram to join our community. Everyone in there is extremely helpful. I'm always in there to help you as well, but rest assured, Crypto Silverback's actually been in the chat for KAMIKAI Lounge and helping you all out there. There's more of him in the community. They're there to support you, look after you, to push things together and market together. If you want to invest, all you have to do is go to the website. So it's www.luckies-games.com. You'll click play games, connect your wallet, and then you're able to participate within the game. I look forward to battling you in the future, because we've launched these games. We can't manipulate them. I think it's fair game for us to participate in them now. So good luck to yourselves. I do like my sleep, so obviously if it's nighttime in the UK, there's your chance. And I'd say, now's a great time if you are listening. Our token has had it's rocketed up, and we stopped all marketing for a brief period. We shook people out. We tried to make sure the people that weren't with us for the long term had their opportunity to exit. And now we're really kicking the marketing off again. So hopefully you'll have liked what you've heard today, and you'll see the vision that I see and the future that I have the ambition of building, which is a $100 million+ market capitalization token ecosystem and a perpetual passive income machine. And yeah, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Ghost, for having me here. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'd love to keep these conversations going, and I'm sure I'll see you in our community and carry on the chats there.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you again.
Yeah.